Hey guys, Maureen here. You might know me from I've only posted one other video on here. This is the video channel for my blog that I write, God's Unfailing Grace. But I'm also a cookbook author. I co-wrote this cookbook, Gluten-Free for the Dual Home, with my mom. And it was published with Tate Publishing. Now, some of you may know the crap storm that has become Tate Publishing in the last, well, probably since 2012, but really hit in January of this year. So what we wanted to do, because we were one of the authors not notified of the very big change in Tate's circumstances, so we wanted to put out we didn't intend it to be a series, but that's how it's going to be. We don't want to make you watch like an hour-long video. So my plan is to do just some 10-minute segments, maybe a little less. Sometimes it might be a little more because I'm a writer. I have no problem spewing forth words. But we wanted to just sort of chronicle our experience that we've had with Tate, why we went with Tate, why we decided to go the route we went, and just how it started, what happened in between, and how it ended, and things that we tried to do to alleviate it. Now, our goal in this is to just sort of help any aspiring authors out there, or anyone who's looking for a publishing house, or in Tate's case, also a music group, to put out your music. We just wanted to help you to be more aware of things to look for and red flags, because we don't want this to happen to anyone else. This was kind of a horrible situation, and while our personal experience has been with Tate, a lot of times this is what you get with a vanity press. Now, I can't speak to every vanity press, and I can't speak to every self-publishing institution. I can't even speak to traditional publishing houses because I have not experienced them yet. Tate was the first one we submitted our stuff to. Tate was the first one that we had ever had contact with, so that's why we're speaking specifically to Tate. We just wanted to help other people go out there and do what they need to do without being suckered into some terrible thing. So in this first episode, I'm calling them episodes because I don't know, I'm just calling them episodes. My mom's name is Gail, by the way, and she will hopefully pop up in some of these videos, but we live not in the same town, so we'll see. Hopefully she'll get on a couple videos here. But our first episode, we wanted to sort of talk about why we decided to go with Tate. I have my little production sheet here. But we wanted to talk about why we decided to go with Tate, and when it happened, why we went with the genre we did. So in 2009, I was diagnosed with celiac disease. I have had an insane amount of digestive problems my whole life. There was a time when my parents thought I was bulimic because I didn't eat much, and then I would not feel good, and I would be in the bathroom because I felt like I was going to throw up a lot. That might be too much information for you. I'm sorry. I won't go into more detail. But I've always had problems, and we couldn't figure out what it was. And I am now 34 years old, and in 2009, I just realized I'm forcing myself to do math. That was 8 years ago. At least I got that done. So I was 26. Yeah, 26. Sorry, I'm in English. I have my degree in English. I'm so not a math person. So around age of 26, I went into my doctor, and I gave him my list of symptoms that I had, and he actually laughed and joked about it and said it was a work of art, and then told me to Google it because my doctor was really professional. So I talked to my mom about it, and she found an article where it talked about celiac disease, and I hit every single symptom, and I hit every single issue. So, sorry, I play with my hair a lot while I talk. It's just a tick of mine. I just do it. So we talked to my doctor about that, and we asked, can it be this? And he said, we sampled it out and found out it was celiac disease. So I gave birth to my first child in 2010, and when I was pregnant with her, I had morning sickness very bad. Now, I had already been diagnosed in September of 2009. I got pregnant in November of 2009. So morning sickness really hit in December, January. And I don't know if any of you have had morning sickness, but you get very sensitive to smells and tastes. And if you've tasted the basic gluten-free stuff they have on the shelf, it's not very good. There's specific brands I'll buy all the time, but basic bread goods just don't taste right. There was a very fishy, and it was like a fish combined with green bean aftertaste. And when I had morning sickness, I couldn't eat it. So I was essentially not eating anything, and other than like vegetables and fruit, like that was it. Which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but I was hungry all the time. I was pregnant. And so in September of 2010, a month after my daughter was born, I called up my mom. She's a chef. She owned her own restaurant. She's cooked her whole life. I've cooked in restaurants. I worked in her restaurant, so I have a lot of that experience too. But my expertise is in writing. Hers is in cooking. And so I had called her and I said, we need to do something about this, because she had found out around the same time she had wheat intolerance. She doesn't have full-blown celiac, but she has wheat intolerance. And if you were to look on, even today, I haven't really found a lot of comprehensive cookbooks even today, but since I now wrote one, I don't really look that much further. But it was a lot of gluten-free baking goods, pies, cookies, muffins, breads. That was it. You couldn't find one for all meals of the day, and you would be surprised. If you have full-blown celiac, you would be surprised how much gluten is in how many things. So we wanted to write a comprehensive cookbook that could take someone from breakfast to dessert without having to worry about what was in it. And so it was in 2010 when we started to put this plan together. I started writing and coming up with as many recipes as I could. My mom, because cooking is her heart and her passion, her soul, she was banging out those recipes like it was no problem at all. Me, it took a little longer. I wrote about a third of the recipes in this book, but I wrote 90% of the writing is mine. So while we both co-wrote it, most of the writing is mine and most of the recipes are hers. So I started editing the stuff, and in 2011, I believe, she had been searching for publishers, and she had contacted a couple, and Tate was one of them. Tate contacted her back and said, we want you, but we're interested in what you're thinking. So for about a year, for the rest of 2011 and 2012, we just were writing as much as we can, anytime we could. I was still working full time, and I had a newborn at home, so I wasn't getting out a lot. My mom was still working full time, so we did what we could in the year and a half about. And in the end of 2013, they started to really hit a little harder. Are you ready yet? Do you have anything for us? Can we see anything? Do you have anything for us? But they would come at that with, but if you're not ready, and if you decide against us, that's okay. You can back off. So we thought, wow. And one of the things that pulled us to Tate was, I am a born again Christian. My mom is a Christian. And someone had said to me recently that anyone who touts their beliefs or their faith and their business model, they aren't to be trusted. And I don't think that's true. I think, yes, it makes it easier to abuse potential clients and people, but it's not that because they declare their faith up front that they aren't to be trusted. In our book dedication, I have a whole paragraph dedicated to Jesus Christ. It doesn't mean I'm untrustworthy or I haven't tasted these recipes. It just means that I feel the need to share my faith. So we went with Tate because their faith statement and their mission statement matched what we wanted for our book. It matched what we wanted to go with. We thought we would be more cared for, and we would be able to work better with a company who shared our beliefs, and they weren't going to push us to do things that we were uncomfortable with. That was why we chose Tate in the end. And so I wrote some dates down here. So on September, it was January of 2013 when they really started to ask us questions. And then that was when we were finalizing all of our stuff. So who we were talking to was an acquisitions editor. Her name was Alana Duffel. That's who we were talking to at first. And my mom had talked to someone before her who I wasn't involved in talking with. My mom was. And then it switched. I don't know what happened to that acquisitions editor, but suddenly Alana Duffel was the one talking to us both. I was talking to her as well. And I think in the next one, we're going to go on to, I'm going to stop here, and I'm just going to go on to actually our dealings with Tate. So this one, we just kind of be more our background, what we decided and why we went with who we went with. If you have any questions, I'm going to have my email in the bottom, or you can obviously comment on this post. And if you have questions for me, I'll try to answer those. If you want me to do a video answering the questions, I can do that too. Just feel free to ask me anything. I'm willing to answer. I know that's kind of a broad statement, but anything about Tate or being a writer or an author or getting things published, I've done a lot of research on publishing companies and agents. So if you have any questions at all about writing or Tate or anything like that, feel free to comment below or send me an email, and I will do my best to get back to you. So we will see you for round 2.